Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever it is for you. I know that we are in the middle of some stuff going on in the United States of America, but if I know anything, we are wired to overcome. And there's so many great things, if you look around, so many things to be thankful for and positive for. But today, I have a little extra special treat because I have Mr. Krish Dhanam. I find great encouragement and get great encouragement from him every single time I hear him speak. And I thought, hey, Krish, will you just share a little bit of encouraging words for our listeners today?
Absolutely, Sherry. Thanks a lot for having me on with your audience. And the origins of both of our motivation or our desire to overcome stems back to an individual. But as we grow through this, it's I think some of what we need is timeless wisdom in this untimely chaos. Maybe that's a good title for another talk.
Yeah, write it down.
Yeah, timeless wisdom for untimely chaos. But I'm just going to give you three very simple principles, and maybe we can tee off from there. The first is, do not let what you do debilitate who you are. And so in this time of chaos, I have managed to maintain the consistency. I still wake up at 4 o'clock. I still go through my devotion. I still read. And then I maybe for an hour and a half. Of course, the luxury of going back to bed now exists because we don't have to drive anywhere. But I've been doing that for the last 14 days ago. I was in Albania and I had to cut my trip short and I came up here. And then I finished my 14 days. But during this time, of course, we've been given another couple of weeks of this lockdown, so to speak. But I decided that I would wake up at 4 o'clock without setting an alarm. I'm not going to let what is happening dictate who I am, because when all this finishes, whether there's a recession, whether there is a depression, regardless of what the future holds, we will all have to be human beings again. And so who we are will have to rise above what we do. The second thing is what Mr. Ziglar used to call, or what he would say, preparation in the valley for what is going to be the mountaintop. Don't look at the mountaintop, because in the valley is where you learn. In the valley is where you grow. Nothing grows on the mountaintop. I have changed that into a principle called future skill attitude. In grief, Cindy's husband, late husband, Richard Oates, was my dearest friend for many years. And when he passed, I learned something. I had grieved for Rich for 10 years, but when he died, I let out a howl they said could have been heard in the neighborhood, even though I knew he was going to die. I came to the conclusion that humanity does not understand that there is no such thing as anticipatory grief. You can grieve all you want in the present, but when that future event happens, you will grieve differently. So have a future skill attitude that prepares you for a tomorrow and doesn't inhibit you from participating in today. And the third is the component that probably is more for the leaders. Lead from front, lead with authority, and lead with consistency. What does that mean? From the front simply means John Maxwell used to say, you don't want to be the leader sitting on a balcony saying, I wonder where my people are going. I think I need to be ahead of them. Second, your behavior has to show that you may be afraid, but you're not fearful. And there's a huge difference. Fear changes the behavior. Being afraid allows you to still take calculated risks, but fear incapacitates you. And so you can be afraid of the uncertainty, and that's share that with your folks, but make sure that you're leading from the front, telling them that you will come through this. In whatever way, you will still be in front, and that is taking that accountability. So one of the things I'm actually doing some small videos for different companies, showing them how they need to have that consistency. So for the people you said in your network of 150 other businesses and in the financial sector, which is going to take a walloping like we have never seen before because of the uncertainty, they need to be giving out 1 and 1.5 minute missives. And I would encourage every 48 hours. You may not be able to motivate people, but at least you'll break even. You'll keep them from getting so demotivated that it'll be hard to bring them back.
Yeah.
So I'm telling chairmen of companies and boards of directors and all that, make sure that you're doing 1 minute videos or 1 minute emails or something like that, that is constantly in their inbox saying you're leading from front, you're afraid but not fearful, and that you believe in them and you want them to believe in you.
Wow, that is so powerful. I know I love watching your work, love what you did this last Sunday. Thank you for that. It was so good. Is there a YouTube channel or something that our people
Sure.
can follow you on? That would be wonderful.
Yeah, it's just Krish Dhanam. It's I've got a couple, but Krish Dhanam is the main public YouTube channel which they can subscribe to. In fact, the message I did on Sunday, someone from another country called and said that can you shorten them down so you can send it over WhatsApp. So I've recorded them as 3 segments of 7 minutes each, the same running the race. So today I just posted the one called "There Is a Starting Block," talking about this new race. And tomorrow and day after I'll do the other ones. But there is a YouTube channel there, just Krish Dhanam. You can go on, subscribe to it. And I do another thing which is called the currency of thought: the price you pay to think and the cost you bear for not. And that's just, I mean, Mr. Ziegler used to call me a verbal gymnast because I have fun with the language. And I think that's what the simplicity is. The language itself is comforting. I don't think we need great miracle. The language can be a miracle at this time.
That's wonderful. All right. So Krish Dhanam, it's Krish, last name Dhanam.
And then Facebook also has, I do different live. Again, you know, I'm on all of the social media, but I tell people, you know, unfortunately, I'm an old school guy. Sherry, you know me. I'm still, you know, I'm a young guy with really old hair, as Brian would say. But as I tell people, you know, I still believe in the certainty of Billy Graham, but somehow kicking and screaming, I've accepted Instagram.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Krish. As always, such a pleasure. And I really do appreciate you speaking a little bit of encouragement into everybody who's watching. And hang in there. I know it says somewhere in the Bible, I think in King Solomon, this too shall pass. So hang in, business owners, and take this great information to your team.